Okay, I think it's there. Now, we'll see. Hopefully this will go in Google Classroom so you can see it, okay? That way, if you have questions, you can go back and rewatch, listen to what I said, and you get a different time. Okay, now, you won't always see me on the video, I'll be honest. I'm jogging back and forth. It's taking a picture of that whiteboard, okay? So that's what you'll see, and you'll probably hear me talk, okay, along with it. Okay, so we are talking about everyday uses of numbers. The reason we're talking about everyday uses of numbers is I want you to realize there are numbers used everywhere, okay? You see numbers all the time, okay? And that's just part of our life. We use numbers. That's what math's all about, is using numbers. Oh yes, we get into that algebra where we put letters in there, but those really stand for numbers. They're just a way of generalizing things. Geometry, we deal with numbers. It's a lot of measurement, this type of stuff. Okay, geometry is really a lot of measurement. Geometry, geo means earth, metry means measurement. Geometry is really about how they started discovering to measure the earth. And it's what they used to measure the earth. Okay. Now, our everyday numbers are based on the decimal system. The decimal system is based on 10. It's a base 10 system. I'll explain what that means. Okay. It's also a positional system. I'll explain what that means too. Okay. So if I write this, that 3 means something specific. What does that 3 mean? Yes?
30.
Not quite 30. What is it?
300.
300. It represents the hundreds. Okay? That is actually 10 times 10 times 10. So it's in the 10 cubed place. We'll talk about cubes later, but it's in the 10 cubed place. This position right here says it's in the hundreds place, so it's 300. The 2 is in what spot? Yes.
The tens.
The tens place, just plain old, actually this is hundreds, 10 times 10, sorry. It's just in the tens place. We don't say 2 tens, that's not how we say it. We use 20, okay? The 2 is said a little bit different, but 20 is just really 2 tens in a different way, okay? I wish we were more consistent, but most of our tens end with T. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then you get to 100. Don't ask me why we put T's on the end of 10. That's what they did when somebody came up with the words that went along with these. Okay? It's not magic. People designed this. We just do what they have always done, so we all are on the same page. That's why you learn math, because that way you're on the same page as everybody else. Okay, so, and the 1 is in the ones, and we don't usually, we name them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A 0 is a number. In our whole numbers, it is a number, okay? It's called the decimal system also because we don't see it right now, but there's an assumed decimal at the end of all these numbers, okay? Whole numbers all come in front of the decimal. So when we're looking at whole numbers, they all come before the decimal. So we don't have any things except for hundreds, tens, ones. We can go to thousands, we can go to 10,000s, we can go to 100,000s. We can go on up and up and up, okay? But we don't really have anything that are less than 1 in a whole number, okay? You can have 0. Can't have 0, it means you have nothing. But you can have a 0 as a whole number. It is a whole number. Okay. Decimal notation is how we write it. That's kind of the position it's in. That's where we have to know what position they are. Do you know that if you go to Europe or Britain, as you get up higher in our positional system, if you get up to, so there's quintillions, no, it's 5, sorry, quintillions, which are like way up there, past trillions, and I can't think of the next one. There's quintillions, which just means 5 of those. In Europe, it's a different word. We don't use the same word in the other country. Okay. Also in Europe, it's very interesting. They don't use a decimal, a point. They use the decimal system, but they write it like this. That comma means we're starting with the decimals, the smaller numbers, the tenths, the hundredths, the thousandths. But in our land, we use a dot. So it was very confusing to me when I first went over to Europe and I was seeing prices for gas and they had commas in them. I'm going, what does that mean? You know, it didn't make sense. And they were written a lot of times like this. And it wasn't in dollars, but that is 2 and 33/100ths. That's not what we think. That doesn't even make sense to us. 2,33 doesn't even make sense to us because we put commas after every 3. Okay, that doesn't even make sense. Why do we only have 2 and we have a comma? Because they replaced the decimal with a comma. So just know that this is not consistent through the world. Our decimal system is not consistent through the world. Okay, it's pretty consistent, but it has a little bit of differences. Okay, and so you have to realize that. Okay, ordinal numbers. So the decimal notation, what did it say about it? Decimal notation is just writing them as a positional number. So decimal notation is writing them like this. 2, 4, 5. This is in the hundreds, that's in the tens, that's in the ones. We know that position because we've learned that throughout life. Okay. Ordinal numbers, we use these a lot. That person came in first in the race. The next person came in second. Okay, so ordinal numbers are basically kind of positional in placement or ordering, in order. Ordering. Okay, so hence first, second, it's a different way of writing them, third, etc. Okay, yes, yes you may, don't have to ask. So little thing, if you need to go to the restroom, just get up and go, come back. Just don't spend a lot of time. I understand. So, just get up and go. They're just right down there. So, okay. Okay, so those are the definitions. If you need to write any of that down to help you know it, you should be writing it down now. Okay? Because in class, you should be going along with me taking notes. Okay, if you want to write it next to what you wrote or make another line, that's fine. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about the uses with examples. Okay. Somebody tell me how we use numbers every day. Just think about it. How do you use a number? Yes.
Like at a store, like if I buy something and it's like, I don't know, like 75% off,
Yeah.
I have to figure out like how much it is.
That's right. Okay. That is actually a measurement number. So if we're taking a percent off, that's a measurement number. Okay. What else is a measurement number? since we brought that up. What's a measurement number? Cost is definitely a measurement. It's how much it costs. Okay. What other things are measurements you use? Oh, we use a lot. How tall are you?
5'2".
Okay, so you're 5'2". That's a measurement. Okay, measurements are those feet and inches and yards and all those kind of things. So we have distance, we measure distance or height, but feet, inches, yards. We can use it in centimeters, which we don't do a lot of times. We do pounds. If you cook, does anybody know any measurements in cooking? Yes.
Well, if like you're baking like 1/4 a cup.
Yes, 1/4 a cup. So all those 1/4 cups or whatever, those are measurements. We need to know how much to measure. Baking is very important to know the measurements because it doesn't turn out too well. If I put in 1,000,000 cups, well, no, okay. If I put in 10 cups of water to a 1/4 cup of flour, it ain't gonna turn out right. It's sloppy. It's really sloppy because 10 cups of water is a lot of water. Okay, so we have to follow the directions if we want to make something that tastes somewhat good. Never know how it will turn out. So that's one way we use it. What's another way we use numbers? Yes?
Averaging.
Averaging. We are making a comparison there. We're making a comparison by averaging. Okay, so that's a comparison when you average something. Okay, it's kind of like I drove to Yakima yesterday. We had an average speed limit. That didn't mean we went the same speed the whole time. It meant that overall this was about the speed we went. So that's an averaging. Okay, and that's very useful, especially if we want to decide how long it's going to take us to get somewhere. Okay, so put down, put some of these informations down on your paper as ideas. Okay, this is taking notes in class. And usually I don't do it exactly like I've asked you to do it. Usually I start with a blank slate, but today I thought it was easier because you had this already. Okay. So averaging is one. What's another way of comparing? What might we say? I think there's an example in the book. What was the example in the book of comparisons? Yeah.
The Lung Nut scored 4 times as many runs as the Cougars.
Yeah. So something like I scored twice as much. I have twice as much money as you do. Oh, bummer. But comparing something. So a lot of times we see 4 times, twice, those kind of words. That's a comparison. We're comparing 2 different things. Okay. How do we use it counting? Do we ever use it counting?
Yeah,
How?
like you could count how many chairs are in the room.
Sure, I had to do that today because I knew there were at least 11 students in one of my classes. I had to make sure I had 11 chairs. Okay, so counting is just that, the number of things. We do this a lot. How many cars are in the parking lot? How many things am I going to buy? How many pieces of bubble gum am I going to buy? I don't know. You count all sorts of things. That is very important and stuff. We count things. Okay. What are codes and identification? How do we use numbers as codes or identification? Yeah. Just go ahead.
Isn't it like how old you are, like on do they use like your birth date?
Yes.
Like anything?
We use birth dates, especially when you get into medical records. When you go to the doctor, they use birth dates. Okay, that's kind of a special part of your code. Okay, so they use your birth date. That's one of them. That's an identification number. So birth dates are one. What are some other things? Yes.
Digits in a certain order to make like to identify someone.
Yes, digits, social security numbers, which probably you don't know a lot about, but everybody is given a social security number in the United States. That is how the government keeps track of you. It's really what it is. It's your governmental ID. So there are ID numbers. I don't know if you have, I don't think you have student ID numbers here, but some schools have student ID numbers. That's their ID number. Okay, so all sorts of identification. If once you get a license, you'll have a driver's license identification. It's not all numbers, it's got letters and numbers, but it will be something. So all sorts of like Social Security is an example. Your driver's license. Some of them give you on the computer, you have to put in your user number or whatever, that's an identification. So they use identification a lot in computers. They're not always numbers though. They've gotten away from that and used a lot of letters as far as identification. Okay. Okay, codes are, if the military uses codes to decipher things, there are things like that. Also, codes are, again, they usually when you go buy something and when you scan it, there's what's called a UPC code. So that is an identification number of what that item is. Okay, usually you see bars, thicker bars, thicker bars, whatever. Those all correspond to numbers. The computer scans that, it knows what that code stands for, and it can tell you that those are Brussels sprouts that you're buying. I don't know what I made up. Okay, but something that you're buying. So we use those in buying things all the time. That UPC, Universal Product Code, is used on all products. They're all the same for all products because otherwise if you went to one store they wouldn't match with the other store. So they're all given the same code when they're manufactured. So there's a whole list of codes out there and you can identify what item that is by the code. So that's something. Okay. So this is like UPC. Ordering. When do we order? Not order like a menu item, but when do we order things?
We could like rank things like
Okay.
in a race.
Yeah.
First place, second place, third place.
Exactly. Usually you see it in races or competitions. Okay, I came in first. That's what we usually want to say, whatever it is. I came in first. Okay. But we order them, we put them in rank, okay? I don't care where you come as long as you did your best. I don't care where you rank in this class as long as you've done your best, okay? That means you've tried as hard as you can, okay? So those are some ways we use it. Ordering is in usually contests of some sort. We do this a lot in statistics, but so it's first, second, third. We have people rate how well your experience was. If you go on Google and know anything about Google and you type in the name of an organization or a business, it will give you a rating. It's usually 0 to 5. Okay, 1 is very bad. Closer to 5 is very good. So that's a rating. You're seeing how does it rate compared to other places. It's a little backwards. 5 is really the best you can be, not first. 1 is really a low rating. Okay, so it's a scale. It depends on how you're doing that. Okay. Locations. How do we use it for locations? Yeah.
Coordinates.
Coordinates, yes. If you have a GPS coordinate, if you know where you are by GPS, that is definitely one that is used now a lot more than it used to be. Because on computers, we can find GPS coordinates. It's very easy to locate those. Okay? Yes?
Your address.
Your address. Your address is actually a location. That's where you live. It's based on coordinates. Okay? So I was just going through this with another class today. So when you're looking at an address, this is my address. Okay? Basically, in the middle of Battleground, I live in Battleground. In the middle of Battleground runs Main Street. And this is Parkway, or Park Avenue. Okay? Usually streets go left to right, avenues go north to south. Okay? I live from Main Street, I live up 10 streets. The reason I know it's up is because it's going north. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So at this area is where I live, along 10th Street. Okay. This part of the number right there tells me there's two numbers that are house numbers, but the other ones tell you the avenue that you live on. Okay, since this is a street, this is the avenue, so I live on 22nd Street. So I'd have to go out here, 22 dots, but let's just pretend it's here. So I live close to this. The 15 says it's a little bit in from the 22nd, but that's how you can tell where you're located at. So addresses are really easy to figure out. Northwest just means you're north and west of the two axes, or the two main things. These are where 0 streets are, really. This is 0 Street, and then we go first, second, third. So that's why it's called Main or Park. A lot of communities call them those two things. Main is used a lot. The other one changes a little bit on the avenues. Okay, but it's a location. So it's numbers that are used for a location. Maps are great to learn how to use. Okay, how do we use scores? Come on, everybody should know this. Yes. Tests. Okay. Tests are 1 score. What else? Who plays sports? Okay. Do you use scores in anything you do? Yeah. What kind of sport do you play? Hockey? Okay. So we have scores in hockey every time you get it in the goal, right? And then there's penalties. Oh, yeah. All those kind of things. Yes. What do you play? What do you do?
I do like sports showing stuff, and so
Oh.
miss. Let's say you were doing a jumping thing, and if you knock the jump down, you get docked points.
Yes, that's a score. You get scored on how well you did. Yes, that's very true. Who else? What do you play? Or what do you do?
Mountain biking.
Mountain biking. How do you get rated in mountain biking, or is it a race?
You do races.
So time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're doing more time. But that's still a score of some sort. What do you play?
I play volleyball.
Okay, and there's a score. They score different.
Yeah, so you get over the net. If
Yeah.
it's the ground, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's, you have to know the rules for scoring on anything. You have to know the rules to score. What do you do?
Football.
Football. Yes, definitely scoring.
Yeah.
6 points for that touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
1 point for that extra point. 2 points for if you take them.
Safety.
A safety, yes. I know a little bit about it. I watch it. I don't play it. Anybody else play sport? Okay. Sports are fun. I discovered that I really like e-biking now. On my honeymoon, we decided we're going to ride bikes. I don't like to pedal up hills. An e-bike that is pedal assist means you have to pedal, but you just get a little bit of boost when you push on the E thing. Okay, so it gives you battery power along with it, but it's wonderful because I can pedal on the straight stuff and the downhill. That's fine. But when I'm going uphill, I can give myself a little bit of assistance so I don't go at the very top. So it's fun. I love it. We're going to get e-bikes. e-assist bikes or whatever they're called, pedal assist e-bikes. That's what they're called. So I found out I love it. I don't know where that came from, mountain biking. So, but anyway, scores in, I'm going to just say games, sports. I also love to play games, card games, and dice games, and there's ways of scoring on those too. So those are all things that we can do. Questions on any of this right now? Questions on any of that? Okay. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of idea. Tomorrow when you see me online, or not see me, but hear me online, we'll probably go through a little bit more of how to take notes, because I know it's going to take some practice. Okay, I'm not expecting you to know how to do this all right now. Okay, so right now I'm going to turn this off, and we are going to start